This is a historic day for Syracuse University, and it's such a momentous occasion for our men's basketball program. It has been exactly 47 years since Syracuse University has had a transition of its head men's basketball coach.
Syracuse basketball is being left in the best of hands. I've known Adrian Autry since he was 16 years old, and I said, that's a guy we got to get to come to Syracuse.
Adrian has the vision and the strategy to successfully and boldly lead our program into the future. And our future is bright. Today we begin the next era of Syracuse basketball and officially welcome to the podium for the first time the 8th head coach, Syracuse University basketball history, Coach Adrian Autry.
You know, growing up in Harlem, there was a lot going on, different avenues that you could go down, a lot of decisions you had to make, you know, as a kid, not even knowing it. You know, you had your sports, then you had, you know, kind of the street life, which way were you going to venture off to. I chose sports. You know, what I remember is playing in the park, getting up, the people coming around, watching, just the camaraderie between the buildings. You know, this is a big project, and, you know, having your building pride and then competing like that. So we were always kind of challenging, competing each other.
He would just dominate the competition. But the one thing that happened was he inspired me to be a better basketball player too. So I was lucky to have somebody like him as a close friend.
He had the drive, what it took to make a basketball player. He had it. We knew from very young.
He played against the best. But he had to work really hard to get there. This was not an easy road. There were a lot of doubters all along the way.
The work will alleviate the doubts. You know, the biggest thing was just knowing who you were, having that confidence in you. And, you know, you had to fight. That's the only way you got recognition. I wanted people to respect me, man. Respect was something that you had to earn. You know, I think my first memories of experiencing basketball in my neighborhood and street ball or basketball period was this place right here, King Dome. We moved into the project, so I didn't really know what the summers would entail. And then they had a basketball tournament. Me coming downstairs and just seeing everybody kind of float here and hear the DJ playing the music. I would watch these guys play. All right, so I was just sitting on the sideline and watch these guys, the older guys play. So you was a young guy, you wanted to get on. You know, we would come out and play, and that's kind of how you built your rep up to actually try to work your way, I always said, from the gates to the main place, which was the King Dome. So that was kind of the way we did things, and that was kind of how I looked at things.
He was always focused at an early age.
I'd probably be up at 7:30 in the morning out here playing by myself, easily.
It didn't matter if he was studying, he was dribbling a ball. If he was on the phone, he was dribbling a ball. No matter what he did, no matter where he was, it was a ball in his hand or he was on his way to get his ball.
I wanted to be good, so I would play by myself, man. My first memory of coming to Rucker Park, it was probably my first time going to play in a men's league unlimited age tournament away from my neighborhood, so didn't really know what to expect. I was excited, to be honest. I was excited to get the invitation.
I did see Red play in Rucker. My first time, I remember he was like 15 and he invited me to come see him play, and I just could remember how I was floored because I couldn't believe what he was doing to grown men at this age.
I think Rucker Park means the best of the best. You know, this is where you kind of came and iron sharpens iron. For me, it was another validation that my game at that point had grown. This was the Mecca. This is the Mecca of basketball. You know, to come here and to be in New York City, you know, you played at Madison Square Garden inside, and then you came out here and played in Rucker.
And then we became AAU teammates, which was great because I got to play with him every year.
I think me being in AAU and then being able to get into high school, I thought that was a difference. Me just kind of sticking with it allowed me to succeed in both fields.
Every year in high school, we were ranked in the top 10 in the country. even 1 and 2 sometimes. So it was excellent to have him be that guy for us and give us national recognition, because the nation really wanted to see him play, you know?
You know, I had a very talented team. I think when you play with so much talent like that, it teaches you how to play together and to kind of play a role and excel in that role.
Red was the leader of our team. You know, he was an All-American, and, you know, where he led, we all followed as a team.
He was always special, had a gift. And as he matured, that gift became much more apparent. And that was the fun part of having him, because he'd make every coach look good. He made me look great for 4 years at Talentine. There aren't too many freshmen that can walk in and play at that level right away. It was an incredible time in the metropolitan area in high school basketball. There was so much talent. And I got a front row seat for the whole show.
I think it was just an era, you know. I'm proud to say I'm with that era of basketball. When I played, I had 4 McDonald's All-Americans on my team. That was, you know, that was unheard of.
We were a highlight reel. We had several kids who could fly, and it was a lot of fun. But no, he knew how to move the ball, and he knew how to share it, and he knew how to share the limelight really well.
You know, you got to obviously score a little bit, but you got to look out for your teammates. And that was kind of, it just kind of was innate. It was just natural.
And by the time Red was a junior into his senior year, he led by example. Pushing it in practice, pushing it in games. When guys make a mistake, he wasn't barking at them. He was getting them to pick it up and do it. He could make everybody better. As a senior in high school, he was a coach on the floor. And he always had an input as to what was going on the floor, in the game, with people, with personnel.
I would listen to Hubie Brown. He would call these games. And I was always listening to how he called the game intently. And he always talked about like the roles and how teams worked.
He can hit the hook shot either hand. He has a beautiful game with his back to the basket. He's been coached well.
Those things always somehow just kind of got ingrained in me. And all the great teams that I played on, I had no choice but to be able to share and find success how I could.
And I think for any parent that's sending a child to a college, you want somebody that's been there and has lived it. And I think he's gonna look out for those young men and make sure they're doing the right thing, both in class, on the court, and I think he's gonna work really hard for them. And I think that's gonna lead to a very, very successful program. He's inheriting a great tradition, and that tradition continues. I don't know what he's gonna do on the court. I have no idea. I don't think anybody does. But I think he's got a plan, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what that plan's gonna be.